Over here to the YouTube portion of things where we're going to be talking about, that's right, buying your first rental property, things you need to know and things you need to avoid. Let me tell you, there's a lot of both. So we're going to talk a little bit more today with you guys about that. I hope you guys can see the screen. I know we got a little bit of a glare here. Hopefully that's all right there. And folks, if you're on TikTok right now, and again, we're live streaming on YouTube, we invite you to find us all over on YouTube. You can jump into the comment section over there where we'll be trying to do our best to answer some questions. And we really hope everybody has a chance to come over and say hi. I'm going to load up the chat line right now. Beautiful. People are already jumping in. All right, guys. So here we go. We're talking about buying your first rental property. This was a requested video. We're going to probably talk about this a little bit more in the upcoming lives over here on YouTube. But I wanted to go over a few things today. We're going to go a little bit more of a general sense of stuff you need to know about and learn about before you get started buying your first rental property, and things you need to know and things you need to avoid. For sure, this is the biggest thing people ask us about because everybody wants to buy property. Everybody is excited about this stuff, and a lot of people don't know where to start. So I'm telling you right now, guys, you're starting. You're already started. You maybe don't know it yet, but starting is learning. You've been learning with us here, hopefully, and on YouTube by checking us out and learning from us completely for free on our video content over there. Starting off by learning is super important. A lot of people will tell you, jump in, make a move, make something happen. Don't have analysis paralysis. Don't just, find reasons to not do something. They're right, but to an extent, there's a balance there. Learning about it is definitely an important thing for you to do to get started. I see some comments coming in here. I'm going to jump on this real quick. Here we are. It says, will this be recorded and saved on YouTube? Yes, Thomas, it will. So if you can't stick around for the whole broadcast, please find us. Make sure you hit subscribe and then turn the alerts on the notifications so that you don't miss some of the upcoming videos we have coming out. And of course, we've got a joker in the group. We have, looks like Matt saying, wow, it's Kev with two guys. It is. Matt obviously cannot be here today because he's out in the field, presumably working hard or napping in his car. We don't know what Matt's really doing. We'll never really know. But we know he's not here. But you know what, guys? I love and value you and all of my followers. So I, of course, made sure I was here for you guys today. Suck it, Matt. Anyway, all right, guys, let's get on to the next the next slide here. The first thing I want to talk about. How did that get on there? Who did that? Subscribe to us on YouTube. All of our full-length video content is over on YouTube, guys, and it's free. So if you're on TikTok, we love you, TikTok. Stick around with us, TikTok. Keep dropping those comments and saying hi. We appreciate you. But find us on YouTube so you get to learn for free with us in full-length video format like you have right now with some of our comments in the chat right now on our live. Drop a comment on how you found us. When you get to YouTube, let me know. I'd love to see it. We get a lot of people from TikTok. People are now finding us on Instagram. People found me at a restaurant just this weekend. I got recognized out in the street. And so this guy who found me online here on our streaming platforms came out and said hi and asked me a couple of questions. It was really, really awesome. All right, let's take a look here. Let's get going with you're buying your first rental property. Wait, does that mean I'll be a landlord? Yeah, probably. It probably does. You're probably going to be a landlord, guys. That's not so bad. Look, we'll talk you through it. Stick around with us. We'll help you learn all about how to be a landlord. Not that bad, all right? So yes, probably it does. It probably means you're going to be a landlord. But being a landlord for at least your first several apartments is pretty typical, but it's not always necessary. So let's talk about that a little bit, right? Being a landlord for your first few apartments, probably what you'll probably end up doing. Most people do it. But it's not always necessarily, and it's not something you have to necessarily do for forever. So there's some pros and cons, and I want to hear from you in our chat about what you think a pro or a con would be of being a landlord in properties that you own, your first rental property. What do you think the good or the bad is for being that first newbie starting off landlord? And why do so many people do it for their first several apartments? Well, look, if you're buying your first multifamily house, maybe you're learning from us about house hacking, and you say, hey, look, I'm going to buy a 3-family home, I'm going to live on the first floor. Does that make me a landlord? Yes, it does. This stuff isn't that bad. You have to have a decent amount of skill set to be a landlord, believe it or not, in a variety of areas. You can be stronger in some areas than others, and that's okay. But what you do need to do is learn a little bit about what that means. What does being a landlord mean to you? and what comes with some of that territory. So what happens after you've gotten, like I said, your first several apartments, pretty typical to be a landlord when you own them, but not always necessary. And what happens later? Well, we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about that. So a lot of people think they get so focused on how do I find the deal? How much do I pay? How do I evaluate the price? Make a good offer. How do I get a loan? All these things, right? And then what they don't think of until literally it happens. They have keys to this property in their hand and they've got tenants. And they're like, oh crap, what do I now? I didn't even, so how do I collect rent? What if I don't like them? How do I upgrade my tenant to a better tenant? How do I evict somebody if they don't pay me? What if the heat breaks? What am I supposed to do? These are the kind of questions that you need to already kind of have some answers to. So again, don't freak out on me. Stick around. On YouTube, we have a lot of videos about how to be a great landlord and a lot of things that'll help you learn about this stuff. And we're not going anywhere anytime soon. We'll be right here building more and more content for you. So if you're interested in buying a rental property and you're thinking, boy, I don't know how to fix things and I don't know anything about laws or my rights or my responsibilities, do I want to do this? You can still learn, but there are other ways. Like I said, even after you've gotten past your first several apartments, you might want to be looking at those ways anyway. So yeah, we got a couple of great comments. We got a con, non-paying tenants, vacancies, and unexpected repairs. 100% right, but guess what? That's going to happen whether you're the landlord or someone else is. So your alternative here is essentially, what's your alternative? Hire somebody. You can pretty much hire to do something, anything these days. You can hire somebody to be your landlord for you, to be a property management company for your property. You're still going to be dealing with issues with non-paying tenants, vacancies, and unexpected repairs. It's 100% right. However, you're not going to be physically time spent dealing with them. Somebody else is. And hopefully, that somebody else is somebody that, has some skill sets for those things, has some experience dealing with those things, and can deal with them more effectively and maybe a little bit quicker than you can. They can also do it, hopefully, the legal way, and they'll be protecting you and by doing it the proper way to deal with some of these issues. You know what? A lot of people seem to think if somebody doesn't pay their rent, just turn the heat off, turn the water off. Come change the locks, lock them out next time they go to the store. I think there's a certain understanding there of fairness. You're not providing me for a service. Why would I provide you the service? Unfortunately, there are different laws that disagree with that, that don't permit you to act in a way in which you feel is fair. So it's important to know what is legal, what is the right way, and what your expectations are. But again, what your rights are. Property management companies will have those skill sets and that kind of knowledge base. Now, again, our YouTube channel is going to help you learn a lot of this kind of stuff. So initially, and for a small scale, you might not need to worry about a property management company. Otherwise, you could have somebody else essentially do this kind of work for you. Now, why would you do that? And I'd love to hear some pros and cons about that. I love how Matt was saying long-term wealth building, 100%. But yeah, this is a great point. Kevin can't even paint a fence. 100% right. I can't paint a fence, but I can pay somebody $20 to go paint a fence, however big the fence is, right? You can always find somebody to complement skills that you don't lack or time that you don't want to spend. And why would you want to hire a property management company? Maybe after you've had several units of property. So you buy a 3-family property this year. You get off to a good start. You're house hacking. You've learned about house hacking from us. You're living in it. You have 2 tenants living in second and third floor apartments. And a year goes by and you say, you know what? I'm ready to buy my next property. Now you're going to have 6 units. Maybe you want to get yourself your own little single family house. You're sick of renting and living like you're renting and living right next to people. And you're going to have 6 units and you want to take on a single family for yourself. Maybe you have a career. Maybe this isn't what you've been doing with your life. This is just what you do in addition to your 9 to 5. Maybe you're married or in a relationship and they've got something going on with their time too. So you say to yourself, listen, I'd rather hire a property management company now that I'll have 6 units or 10 units or as you're scaling and growing. So you can focus on some of the other stuff that you're spending your time on, starting a family, family commitments, right? Work commitments. Maybe your time is better spent instead of dealing with tenant issues and rental issues. Maybe your time is better spent searching for that next awesome deal and evaluating this stuff, or by watching an awesome channel on YouTube like 2 Guys Take on Real Estate. I mean, the possibilities are endless, right? So there's some good pros to why you would want to have a management company do it. But early on, as you're getting started with your first property with just a few units, maybe a house hack situation where you live in one of the units, you might not be able to afford it. Remember, I said you're hiring people. This stuff's expensive. And nothing's cheap. And when you're starting off, you're on a shoestring budget probably, right? You want to make every dime count. So probably not. I'm going to put that in the con. Probably expense. That's why you want to be your own landlord. Is the con? I should say is the pro is expense of hiring a property management company. The pro here, it's going to save you money. And as long as you learn some basics and you're keeping it simple, you're not trying to get too big and manage too many of your own units, you can probably juggle owning a few rental units with your regular life that you're already doing. And with some basic knowledge and some training that you can obtain from awesome sites like ours for free, you could probably keep wider margins early on your first several units by self-managing. So that's really, really important. The pro of self-managing can definitely be, in the pro column, better margins for you, which is super important because something is going to go wrong for you on your first property. So the important thing here is you want to be able to say, listen, I did really, really well in this category. So yeah, I kind of screwed up and I didn't realize that I was going to have to do a little bit more renovation work than I expected and I budgeted for. So I'm glad I saved here because this one I had a little bit of an overage there. This stuff will help wash out. A lot of different comments here. Oh, Rob, of course. How much does the property management company cost? That's a great question. You're probably going to be, for rough numbers, I would say around 10% of rents collected. You're seeing that a lot. So what are you paying for a property management company? We're going to go back over here because we're going to say, cons. It costs money. 10% of rents collected. So if you have a 3-family house and each apartment is $1,000 rent, that's $3,000 of rents being collected, hopefully, every month. And it means each month you're paying $300 to cover the cost of somebody managing that property. Now, what does that cover? Well, that's a different question altogether because you're still now paying, almost certainly you're paying for some different types of maintenance. So when your tenants clog a toilet, when your tenants break a window, they call about maybe they feel the heating system isn't working properly, whatever they might be calling or reporting into the management company, you're paying for those service calls. And you're paying maybe a little bit of a markup on materials. You're paying a little bit of a markup on their labor. So they're going to send somebody over or they're charging whatever, $20, $30 an hour to go do a house call, a work order visit and do something at the property. You're paying for that as well as the 10% of rents collected. Now, I love the idea of 10% of rent collected. That's really, really good because that keeps you and the property management company kind of on the same page. It's like a commissioned salesperson working with you on a project or on something because the more you're pleased with something, in this case here, the more rent that gets collected for you, they get more money. So they're incentivized to collect as much rent as possible for you. That tenants don't always make that easy. Again, if you guys are talking about buying your first rental property, right, and you've never had to deal with tenants, sometimes, that's one of the things I hear from new landlords. They go and they collect rent in person. They're knocking on the doors. They're by the first of the month. They're like, hey, and they're getting a runaround. I won't be home till work till 5. Oh, something came up after work. I'll be there after 7. What? Turns out my kid is sick. I'll catch you tomorrow. And then they don't catch it. You get the runaround. You're doing a lot of this kind of stuff. And then I'm short. I can pay a half now. I can pay a half on the 15th. All the different excuses, all the time-consuming stuff. And sometimes, you just don't, you have to spend a lot of time chasing somebody down to get that rent collected. It's a shame. But unfortunately, depending on how you've onboarded these people, maybe you've inherited them as tenants, they may not have the best habits as a tenant. So a property management company might have to spend that time, might be them spending that time instead of you, fighting to collect that money that comes in because that's how they get paid. So your interests are lined up. It's a really, really, really great thing. You're going to evaluate the property. Oh, I see some more too. Property management fee, charge every time a tenant. Yep. So Aaron does have a great question. So I will go back to this a little bit because I just want to hit this question up. Aaron, in our YouTube comment section, by the way, guys, if you're on TikTok, I love my TikTok followers, but it's okay to follow us on YouTube as well. You'll be able to have questions get answered in the chat. So if you find us over on YouTube, it's Two Guys Take on Real Estate. Check us out there. There's a link in our bio that'll help you find us as well. And we are live right now on YouTube. We go live every Monday, and you'll be able to watch this as well as a lot of full-length content. And if you're new here, stick around for a little bit, hit the follow button. This stuff is very, very valuable, but we give this knowledge away completely for free. We want to help you succeed and have an easier go of it than we were able to. So I want to talk about the common error just tossed up the screen. What all does a property management company do? That's a great question. Pretty much everything. So if you're going to own this property, and maybe this is where you get into property management companies once you've bought a few properties and you want to now spend your time in a different direction. Remember, you're working your way towards financial freedom. So you're maybe working your way towards being able to spend more time with your loved ones. Maybe you want to focus on traveling or doing something different. Maybe you want to spend more time focused on finding deals, evaluating properties, learning something different. Up to you. But a property management company is going to take all those annoying phone calls, all that tenant drama. Look, if you've never rented a property before, I will tell you, there's a lot of ways in which tenants will cost you time. And that's what the property management company will ultimately help save you. They're going to, I would go to a property and I just stop by for whatever reason. I want to check on my property, look around, just be present there. I'll get tenants that'll come out. They'll tell me the gossip from the person down the hall was complaining about this person, that person, they get going and going. They'll make a lot of just annoying complaints that they don't have any way to back up. Bob in the apartment upstairs, he played his music a little loud last night. No documentation or anything, nothing really for me to be able to do about this stuff. But they want to talk about it. They want to, bring these things up. Now, that's just regular stuff. Now, what happens when somebody calls you at 2 a.m. for an emergency? Somebody's got to be dealing with these. Somebody's got to be answering these kind of calls. We've had properties that have caught on fire before. We've had properties hit by tornadoes. We've seen it all. A property management company is basically going to be the buffer between your ownership of the property and all the stuff that it involves. And so important for you when you get, I don't want to talk about getting to 500 units, guys, but it's important when you get to 20 units, 50 units. And believe it or not, if you're here and you're watching this stuff, seriously, people on YouTube, especially, guys, I want to hear it in the comments. Tell me in the comments, how many properties or how many units do you own right now? Anybody with zero, I want to know about it and just drop me a quick comment. 0 properties, units, 1 unit, 5 units. Tell me in the comments how many units of property you currently own. Because I will tell you, for the people that don't own any, thinking that 50 units or 20 units is impossible is what I'm expecting I'm going to hear from everybody. Literally, people that have no apartments, that they don't own a single rental unit, think 20 units is an impossible task and not something that they can accomplish. I'm going to tell you, it's way easier than you'd think. Getting to 20 units will be a life-changing event for you if you're just a mom and pop team of landlords, of owners. Getting to 20 units will change your entire outlook in terms of financial freedom, and it's very doable. Just by talking about this stuff here, if you buy a 3-family house like we're talking about right now, your first rental property, just your first rental property, you buy that this year. Think about a year from then, 1 year out, you buy your second multifamily house. That's doubling your units 3 to 6. You can probably still self-manage. At the end of that first year, you're going to be able to self-manage another 3 units. It's not going to change your life that much. You're not going to really notice that much of a difference in terms of workload. And that's only 1 property a year, right? You get to 6. Think about it. You just keep adding multifamily house after multifamily house, 1 per year. That's an incredibly long time. I think you can average 1 to 2 a year. After your first one, maybe your second one a year later. Now you're into 6 months. Every 6 months, you buy yourself a 3-family multifamily house. As you get to maybe 9 units, 12 units, if you don't feel amazingly easy and comfortable and you haven't been doing a great job of getting good tenants in there that are trained well, oriented well to the ways in which you want to manage your property, you're going to be really surprised. You can go to the property management company, but I might slow your growth just a little bit. You'd be really surprised. After just a few years of buying a 3-family house every year to every 6 months after a little bit, you're going to be at 20 units in no time. And it's going to change things so much. I see a lot of people saying 0. So exactly the way I think if you're, I hope you watch this and you save this video somewhere and you come back in 2 years after you bought your first property. Maybe now you're on your 3rd at that point and you're like, wow, this is I got 9 units already and it's been 2 years. I can totally do this. 2 more years, I'm going to have another 9. That's 18 units. Wow. That's 4 years, 18 units. I'm ahead of the game. We'll see. I love to see it. I love to see it because I'm really excited about this for people that are starting out. Really, really do get excited for this. All right. So I see, so a couple of zeros. We got, Josh is at 0. We got a few different people at 0. Widmark. And I love that we just hear this from Aaron. Just bought my first house in July. That's fantastic to hear. So great to hear. All right, let's move on this. We're talking about buying your first property, and make sure for folks that are on YouTube, thanks for saying hi. I can't see you in the chat. If you are on YouTube, on TikTok right now, I can't see you in the chat, but thank you very much for following us and being part of our TikTok. We are live streaming this on YouTube right now. You can see this probably a little bit better on YouTube, as well as be able to have me interact with your comments. So please check us out over on our YouTube live stream happening right now, and we'll be very, very happy to work with you over there too. Evaluate the property, guys. You're buying your first property. Obviously, evaluating it is important. Value adds are super, valuable. Yes, I wrote this myself. You can obviously tell value adds are super valuable. Figure out when you're looking at properties. I was doing a walkthrough of a mixed use, a commercial and residential property today. And I live streamed it for my awesome people over on TikTok. Sorry, YouTube. I did it for TikTok today. And I was on there going through this property with them. And they were looking around. They're like, oh, this, that's a little bit outdated. That bathroom's out of date. I'm like, yes, that's exactly. It's outdated. This is great. I don't want something that's fully renovated, that's all up to date. I want to be able to send somebody in and spend $500, and what I get out of it is $5,000 in value, in improvement value. So value adds are, valuable. So you want to look for any way in which you can spend some time or some effort at the property to make the property better or worth more attractive to a higher paying tenant, for instance, more attractive to somebody that maybe want to come along later and make you an offer and buy it from you, more attractive to a bank to approve, or an appraiser to appraise. So these are really, really important things. Look for value adds. What kind of value adds? There's a lot of different things. I know there's a whole video I think we already have on YouTube about that. Repairs and improvements. These are really, really important aspects of value adds. Fixing a roof is great. You can turn around and say, listen, we have a brand new roof. It's good for the next 30 years. That's going to make if you're going to burr this property and sell it eventually, that's going to make the marketable value of it that much more. You can improve it in a lot of different ways, from updating kitchens and bathrooms. And some of this stuff, if you're really handy, you can do a lot of this awesome stuff yourself in the most cost-effective ways possible. Warning, just a warning. TikTok, stick around, listen to this warning. Don't go far. Don't lose this between the two videos. Do not over-renovate or over-improve a property that you're evaluating. If you're buying this thing and you're thinking to yourself, I got to put marble everything in and super stainless everything. Make this thing amazing. If it's a rental property and it's not like the super high-end area, don't over-improve it for the market that you're having the property at. Know what you're offering here. Know your product. And don't spend $10,000 to renovate a part of that property that you could have gotten the same return on for $2,000. We see that a lot. People over-renovate, and then they wonder why they're not making any money on it. And maybe they're wondering why, I spent an extra 10 grand on this apartment renovation, but I'm getting the exact same rent. I'm not seeing any return back. What a waste. And boom, it's a rookie mistake. So please stick around for these kind of tips. If you're new to real estate and you're learning about buying your first rental property, this is important stuff. Leasing rates. There's so many different ways to do value adds when it comes, to the leases. Maybe you're buying a property that's already rented out. Okay, awesome. You're inheriting some tenants. Look through those leases. Are there leases? Oh my God. You won't believe how many people will have properties that they've been renting out. I guarantee it. I've rented before without a real written lease. A lot of people do. It's very common. But it's incredible how much more value you can create to a property or your cash flow when you own it by modifying leases and the lease rates. I've seen everything, guys. So maybe you're looking at a house. Maybe you're looking at a house today, and it's a 2 bedrooms in each apartment. It's a 3-level house, 3-family house, all 2 bedrooms. And you do a walkthrough, and it's fully rented. And you're gonna, and you want to figure out what kind of value add you're tweaking and optimizing can be for leasing. You get a hold of the leases and you see that their 2-bedroom apartments are rented for $600. And okay, I mean, who knows, right? But wait a second, you know the market. You've done a little bit of market analysis. You've gone on Facebook and looked at what, apartments in that area rent for, and you realize, wait a second, the 2-bedroom apartments in this area, roughly kind of similar, rent for at least $800. So right there, you should be thinking to yourself, wait a second, I can't keep, if I'm going to own this property, I know right there I can add $200 a month per unit of value to it by modifying these leases, by getting them updated, by maybe working the tenants up over time. You don't have to necessarily jump somebody up a ton. Also, a lot of times, people that are renting at way below market property prices, they know that they are. They know they've been getting a steal because, a little old lady owned the place, or so-and-so, just charged them a bargain basement rent price because they don't want to hear any complaints about stuff. You keep your apartment fixed up. I'll charge you just a break-even price to cover my bills, my expenses of running the property, that kind of thing. But they know they've been getting away with it for a very long time. They've been happy every year that they've been able to keep such a low cost. But they also know that that train is going to come to a stop at some point. And at some point, they're going to have to pay kind of closer to market value on it. Optimizing these things are really, really important. Maybe that tenant is ready and prepared and understands the rents are going to have to increase to what kind of everybody pays in that area. Or maybe they're not, and you're going to end up having to eventually change tenants out. And that's fine too. I mean, it's something you can work out on a case-by-case basis, and we do talk about that quite a bit. I think I just talked about that in my last live. But man, what a big jump you can make right there in terms of how much you're adding in terms of value on this property. So I will tell you one more thing about leasing rates. I'm going to tell you this, right? I've seen situations where people are renting out 2-bedroom apartments and they're calling them 2-bedroom apartments, but they're absolutely 3-bedroom apartments. They're sitting on a 3-bedroom apartment that owner or landlord doesn't realize that everybody else in this area rents that thing as a 3-bedroom, that the tenants that they've rented it to have an extra family member anyway living in there, using it as a 3-bedroom. Adjust that lease. You don't have to call it whatever number of bedrooms. Just adjust that leasing rate to a 3-bedroom rental rate. We were just talking about it going from $600 because they were underpriced for a 2-bedroom apartment, but lo and behold, it's really a 3-bedroom apartment. And that's what you should be charging them. So you're talking about maybe $1,000 a month. And again, these prices are obviously crazy soft. In my area, in your area, maybe they're dead on. I don't know. Markets are different everywhere, so don't jump on me about the actual pricing. We're using fictitious numbers. But seriously, $1,000 a month versus $600 a month, you could be buying a home run deal because the person selling this property is selling it priced based on what it's performing at now, what the condition of which it's at now. You're going to come around and maybe with an afternoon's worth of work, you're going to increase the cash flow of this property by $400 per unit times 3, right? $1,200 a month of cash flow because you sat down in one afternoon and had a conversation with 3 different households and maybe you got them on track. Maybe you had to spend more time on it and work those things out. Maybe you had to change the barrier to entry and maybe make some accommodations. Maybe you spread those increases out or those adjustments out to market value, to a fair value for you over the span of a year. Either way, you're coming out ahead. I mean, you remember, if you're buying and evaluating a property, you're not just buying it and evaluating it for what it's going to do today. This could be looked at over a 20-year picture. So when I just talked about an improvement of $1,200 bonus money on top of what it's been doing, I don't just mean for that month. I mean for that year. But I don't just mean for that year. I mean for that decade and maybe for the next 2 or 3 decades that you own the property. That's a lot of money that you earned essentially in maybe one afternoon. I've done this stuff. Not everybody is going to go from $600 to $1,000 worth of rent increased price overnight. Some people are absolutely going to do it, and we're waiting for that to happen eventually anyway. And they got by for an extra 5 years, so they were counting their blessings and loving it. But these things are real, and they should be considered when you're evaluating your property. Inclusions and amenities. Sorry, I have all these pop-ups. Inclusions and amenities. Adding in a washer and dryer, like a laundry room, adding more stuff at the property, depending on what kind of market you're in. Make the property a little bit nicer, or maybe include more stuff. I mean, so landscaping, a garden, all that kind of stuff. Include things like heat, hot water, some of the utilities. could be kind of crazy, but who believes that they would rather live in an apartment with heat and hot water included? A lot of people love that. They got one bill to pay every month instead of all these extra bills. It's stable. They don't have 1 month. Maybe they're just not good at budgeting. One month they're paying $1,000 for rent. The next month they got to turn their heat on. And all of a sudden they're paying an extra $300-$400 in heating, and they weren't really factoring that in. They just didn't budget properly. So a lot of people love it, and that might attract more tenants. That might keep tenants there. But wait a second, how is inclusions part of a valuation of a property a value add? Because value adds, right? They're super valuable. How are they a value add? Well, let me tell you, how would including heat and hot water be a value add? Can anybody at all tell me? I would love to hear it. So YouTube chat, I'm looking at you. All right. There's some people here watching. If I was to include heat and hot water in a rental apartment, how does that actually make me make more money? How does that make a landlord more money when he provides more as part of the apartment? Maybe I start including a stove and a fridge, but I love the heat and hot water one. I want to pop quiz you guys on that. So TikTok people, if you're here, thanks for being part of this broadcast. We are doing this on YouTube, so please find us over on YouTube after you followed us here. When you get over to YouTube, make sure you subscribe and hit the notifications. So nobody said it yet. Maybe everybody's just busy typing, or maybe you're listening to me in the car. I'm going to go ahead and guess that somebody's going to come up with the right answer. Maybe TikTok people are saying it. I see it actually. Yeah, there it is. What is it? Go. I have a hard time seeing. I think it's go. Somebody hit the nail right on the head in there. You charge more rent. So not only can you charge more for it, of course, first of all, guys, you're charging more for it. You start including heat and hot water as part of a rent in a $1,000 apartment, you're going to charge more for that apartment. The more stuff you include with something, just like anywhere in any other service, you charge a higher price. This is fantastic stuff. Why is that fantastic? Because you could probably charge, well, the bump might be more than 10%. I would think it's going to be more than 10%. Maybe you go to $1,200 a month. And so you're at $1,200 a month. You're charging an extra $200. And if you weren't including anything, and guess what? You're charging that in the middle of July too. Your heating bill to provide heat for that apartment is zero. You're making $1,200 of income in July, same as your $1,200 of income in January. Now, a couple of things can be really, really important. This is not for newbies necessarily, but you want to make sure that your home that you are renting out that includes utilities is actually optimized for that. Don't go including utilities if you got an old snowman heating system in it. Oh my God. We saw one of those today on one of our live streams. I don't know if anybody here in any of the chats that we've got going on right now know what a snowman heating system is, but don't include it. Just don't even do that to yourself if you got a snowman. If you don't have a snowman, you got yourself a nice, high efficiency gas, forced hot air heating system. That's a great way to go. You got nice replacement updated windows. Everything's really weather tight in your property. Maybe you have a nice thermostat, like a smart thermostat or a limited thermostat, so people can't crank it to 90 degrees in there and just walk around half naked all winter long. That'd be great ways to make yourself money. You're going to actually make money when you're evaluating this property if you are now including heat and hot water and utilities as part of the rent. A snowman, by the way, anybody that missed out on that, a snowman is they look like a big old snowman like kids used to make, with the corn nose and all that. It's a heating system that's big and white because it's covered in asbestos. That's what they used for insulation back in the day. And you still see those in a lot of places. A huge old white furnace, bigger than me, and it's covered in white asbestos insulation. You still see them a lot in some old basements and cellars around here. So if you're running that sucker, every dollar you're burning of heat, 60% of that's going right up the chimney. So you don't want to be including heat if you have an outdated heating system. I saw it today on your live. Awesome. Look at that. So yeah, Aaron has a couple of good tenant tips. I do want to stay on this, but someone told me today, if a tenant is applying to rent your unit, go look in the back of their car. Chances are that if it's full of junk, they will trash your apartment. Well, my house is pretty clean. My cars are pretty messy. No, I hear you. You're absolutely right. There's a lot of great little kind of like mom and pop landlord tips like that one. Another great question that I heard along those same lines is to ask a tenant, hey, what brand of vacuum do you use? I've seen some landlords go so far as to actually put that on an application. What brand or what model of vacuum cleaner do you own? The whole idea is a lot of dirty people aren't going to own a vacuum cleaner, and you don't want to rent to them. I don't know. Interesting. There's always these little extra thoughts. All right. And then operating cost reductions. Anything you can do to help lower the property operating costs. You're going to be looking at getting awesome insurance rates, things like that. You're going to be looking at doing anything you can do to get a better deal, maybe on landscaping. Maybe the old owner, was paying a lot more in landscaping because they were just getting hit by a regular contractor. They didn't have a great deal with a contractor like maybe you do. So you want to factor in operating costs reductions that maybe you have a good connection that you've been working up and learning about how to make great connections to lower some costs. Maybe, like I said, insurance rates or landscaping. All right, keep going. We're going to keep talking. We're talking, again, for TikTok, people that are just joining in. I know people come and go pretty quickly on TikTok. Attention span is a thing. And I want to make sure everybody knows you have a chance to follow us here, but please find us over on YouTube. Our YouTube Live right now is happening, and we have comments being asked and answered in the YouTube live stream. The link to our YouTube is right in our bio. It's the same as it is here on TikTok. It's two guys taking real estate. So think about your financing. So you're looking at buying your first rental property. What's your financing strategy? Maybe this is a BRRRR property. If you guys don't know what BRRRR means, it doesn't mean it's cold. I know we were just talking about including heat. Not a temperature thing, folks. What is a BRRRR property? A BRRRR property is a great strategy where you essentially are acquiring this property for free. Yeah, that's right, people. Even today, you can buy properties for free. You can buy multifamily homes for no cost. It's amazing. And it's a bit of a stretch, maybe a little sensational, but there's an awesome strategy. We teach it right here for free on our YouTube. Everything's just free. We're just giving stuff away here. So maybe you're going to use this property as a BRRRR. That'd be a great way to do your financing and your strategy. Maybe you're going to look at getting different loans, a commercial loan versus a residential loan for the property. Make sure you're figuring out what the approval process is. So if you're buying this property to BRRRR it and you get to that R for refi, whoa, wait a second, guys. Did you plan this out, or did you just start working on the refi R after you did everything else? This should be part of evaluating your first property, figuring out how you're going to refinance it. Wait a second, I haven't even bought it, and this dude on YouTube is telling me how am I going to refinance it? Yes, if you're going to BRRRR this thing, you need to figure out how you're going to refinance it. Why? Because otherwise, you're stuck with that R, with that B. The buy. How did you buy this property? You borrowed money from somebody, maybe a hard money lender, maybe a family member, but a hard money lender probably, right? So you got a high interest rate loan, a temporary loan, and you weren't prepared for how you're going to refi this thing. Wow, that could be tragic. You might be stuck in a hard money loan. You might be working really, really, really hard just to cover interest payments. That is insane. We can't let that happen. I'm so glad you found us so you didn't go down that path. And guys, speaking of finding us, if you're on TikTok still, please take a second, find us on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe and ring the notifications bell so you don't miss some of the upcoming recorded videos we're going to be putting out. Oh, I see some comments coming in here. How does hard money lending work? Great question. Love the information and feedback. Absolutely. Well, Will, thanks so much for the question. How does hard money lending work? This is great. We actually have an awesome YouTube video about this already set up on our YouTube channel. So please, when you're done today with the live, everybody should take a second and watch our hard money video on YouTube. So I'm not going to go into it much because we already do have that stuff recorded for you guys. But essentially, a hard money loan is just like borrowing money from a friend, but that friend's going to gouge you with interest. So a hard money is somebody that's got some money to lend out. It's like a bank. They work the same or similar like a bank, but it's all very, very quick, and the rates are much higher. So, for instance, I was looking at a property today that I would love to buy with my partners, and we could go to a hard money lender and quickly get the money to buy this property. So the buyer, we're the buyer, so the seller can close on the deal with us in just a very short time. It's very different than going to a commercial bank or business, because that process takes a lot longer time. So if I'm looking at making an offer on buying a property and somebody else is offering to buy that property, I can say, listen, I'll buy it from you and I will close by the end of the month. I'll take this thing off your hands very quickly. And the other people are like, I'm going to buy it from you, but listen, my offer is contingent on me getting approved. It's going to take about 3 or 4 months. I got to go through all these inspections. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'll have a bag full of cash for you by the end of the month. I don't need inspections. let's make it happen. They're gonna go with me, even if my deal was maybe at a lower price. They might still go with me because they just want to get the stuff wrapped up. They don't want to have the other people wasting their time having these deals fall through. So you borrow money from a hard money lender at a high interest rate, and that's not so bad because it helps you facilitate a deal you might not otherwise get. And the idea is you're only borrowing it for a short period of time. So it's genius. You're paying a ton of money in interest, but you're not paying it for like 30 years. You're paying it for like 6 months. So you can deal with it a bit. And that's where the R comes in BRRRR. That's once you get the property and you purchased it using the hard money lender, you do your thing. You're renovating. You're renting it out. You're optimizing it with all the value adds, and you're going to the bank to get it refied. At the end of that 6 months, the property's roaring. It's in good shape. It's rented out, and the bank is loaning you money to refi. You're paying that hard money lender back all of his money plus his interest, and now you have a nice long 20, 30-year mortgage on it with a great interest rate. That's the whole idea for hard money. But please take a look at the longer version and explanation of that on our YouTube video. Will and everybody else out there in TikTok land, you can find us over on YouTube. Scalable location. So is your first property somewhere that will support buying additional property and growing your portfolio over time? Right? I mean, are you buying it in a small town? There's just not going to be a lot of other buying opportunities. Do you really want to buy, your first 20 units, which is way easier than you'd think, guys? We were just talking about that. Do you really want to buy them in like 8 different towns or all an hour from each other? No, you want to probably focus them in kind of one area. So it's easier to manage, easier to get to, easier to update and show and rent out, stay on top of tenants and collect whatever you have to do. Do you see yourself buying 1 or even 2 properties a year in this area over the next 5 years? I mean, you're going to be around? Are you sticking around? Are you moving across the country for a job? What's your plan? Is this a house hack? Does this location really work for you to live in for a while? Right? So are you house hacking? House hacking TikTok people? If you're still over there on TikTok and you haven't found us on YouTube, that's awesome. Learn about house hacking with us. We teach it. It's my favorite thing that people, when they ask me what I would have done differently when I first started off, I always say I would have house hacked. So please learn about house hacking with us. Essentially, that means you're going to live in your first purchase. It's a multifamily house. You're going to live in one apartment. You're going to rent out the other 2. And are you going to really live there? Like, if it's a house hack, think about it. You have to live there. Is it a bad neighborhood, a neighborhood you don't want to be in? Is it too far away from where you need to go every day? Your work, your friends and family. Is it big enough for you? Is it desirable enough for you? Does it fit what you need? So don't forget about that stuff. This is really important. And again, is this a location that you really can see yourself investing in? Because you don't have to necessarily buy 5 more properties on that street, but maybe 5 more in and around that town or city would be really, really important. Otherwise, you're going to be juggling maybe different property management companies or spending a lot of time commuting and traveling to keep up on your properties. Important stuff. Oh, I appreciate it. Yes, do please hit the thumbs up. Drop us a like over on YouTube. If you're on YouTube right now and you're watching and you haven't dropped us a like, just take a second, hit the like button, give us a thumbs up, help us reach out to more people. By giving us a thumbs up and dropping a comment, that will absolutely help more awesome people out there who would love this free information be able to find our channel. It'll push us up the algorithm. So that's a great question. Can you purchase properties just by paying off the delinquent property taxes? Yes and no, and we actually do talk a lot about tax liens and tax lien foreclosures and all sorts of different types of acquisition strategies. So, Will, I do want to stick around on evaluating your first retail or rental property deal, which is what we're talking about right now on this live stream. But please explore our channel. We have those questions in those videos specifically about those things answered for you. Thanks very much. All right, so seriously, your location, is it scalable? So many people out there are thinking, oh my God, you know what? I'm never going to buy 20 units. That's crazy. That's what rich people have. I'm never going to own 20 apartments. That's crazy. I mean, I'm thinking about maybe buying my first. Yeah, you're buying your first, but it's once you've gotten your first multifamily house, your first 3-family property, you're going to be able to be buying your next one within a year. Do you really want to be doing it in another town, another city, an hour away? Does this city or this area that you're buying your first property in have the ability for you is there going to be more homes on the market that you think you can probably still get pretty good deals on if you really, really hunt them down? If so, that might be a great way to get started and a great location to start investing in. Okay, yeah, there it is. So I want to go back to this last slide right here, which is the most important one for you guys. Subscribe on YouTube. And when you get to us on any of our stuff, drop a comment on how you found us. This is probably the most important slide I've got for you. Why is that? It's because our YouTube content is huge, it's free, and it covers a lot of stuff that we wish we knew when we started off. So I can't even begin to tell you the amount of struggle and mistakes that we've made along the way. We've made every mistake you could possibly make in real estate. And some of them we made 2 or 3 times. I'm not ashamed to tell you. Why we're so happy to tell you about our mistakes is because we have gone through this stuff for you. We want to help you avoid making them so you can have a more successful run at it yourself. If you subscribe to us on YouTube, you ring the notifications bell for our upcoming stuff, I promise you're going to really, really appreciate some of the struggle we've gone through because it'll help you have a smoother process and a smoother trip through your path to financial freedom. That's one of the best things you can do for yourself, and we would love to meet you. So when you get to our YouTube channel, take a second, drop a comment on how you found us. I had somebody, like I said, spotted me on the street just the other day. This weekend, I've had people on YouTube tell us they found us on TikTok. I've now had people coming from Instagram. It's super awesome for people to jump into our YouTube channels, whether it's our lives or in the comments of our regular videos, and just say hello and how they got there. We love to see it. It keeps us going, and it keeps us creating more content for you for free. So we wish you all the very, very best, and we'll be here doing everything we can do to pay it forward and support you on your journey into real estate. So if you haven't bought your first property yet, this is the place for you. Stick around. You have started. This is you starting. This is you learning. And Two Guys Take on Real Estate is going to continue to be here to help you have an easier go. I see a comment on here too. I found you guys on TikTok, says Aaron. And we got another one here. Alex, found you guys from a random TikTok vid. Not disappointed with subscribing. We'll take it. I appreciate it. We don't want to disappoint. We absolutely want to help you guys have an easier go of it. So let us continue to pay it forward. Please share this video with your friend. Help us grow, especially on YouTube, where we have much, much longer content that explains a lot of the processes you've seen and heard little bits about so far on TikTok. Until I have another live stream, probably next Monday, please keep checking back to our channel. We post polls on our YouTube channel as well, including polls about what an upcoming topic might be for our next live stream. So we'll be able to help you with some feedback from you, get all the information, all the answers you need to be successful in real estate. Thanks, everybody. Kevin from Two Guys Take on Real Estate, signing off for the day. I'm going to go treat myself, maybe to a little lunch. Maybe you guys will be in my comment section as I'm scrolling through my phone. Take care.